these standards, Edge and UMTS. Now, 4G LTE actually is the transition between 3G and 4G. Transition step between 3G and 4G. LTE is known as 3.95G. Okay, and it was introduced by 3GPP. This is the third generation partnership project. They developed the 4G standard, right? Then you can read long-term evolution is a standard for wireless broadband communication for mobile devices and data terminal, and it incorporates these technologies: GSM Edge architecture and UMTS HSP. HSP is high-speed packet access, right? These are the two technologies used by 4G LTE, and then it increases the capacity and speed using different radio interface together with the core network improvements, right? So there's a lot of stuff if we have to talk, if we are to talk about 4G LTE. So I have just mentioned a very few things here, right? And this is the uh, group which developed the 4G standard, 3GPP, right? Then we have 5G. 5G also same. It's just it has a lot of things like 5G new radio and millimeter wave. I mean, 5G is transmitting with different frequencies and wavelengths. So actually, for 5G, we can't implement 5G easily because for 5G implementation we need to upgrade the system, as well as we can't use the mobile equipments which support 4G, right? 5G වලට support කරන වෙනම mobile equipments තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් 5G implement කරන්න බෑ. So it's a bit difficult to implement. But the most attractive feature is it offers a very high bandwidth, right? It offers a very high bandwidth and higher download speeds, and data speeds are up to 10 Gbps, right? So which is a really good performance compared to 4G technology, right? And it is mainly for the broadband cellular access, network access for the cellular network, right? So 4G cell phones are not able to use the 5G, right? So we need 5G enabled mobile phones for that. Then the main attractive feature is that we can incorporate IoT based technologies with 5G. 5G එක IoT based technologies පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. IoT means Internet of Things, right? So 5G is very new, right? We are, I mean, still in the experimenting stage of 5G, right? And there is another concept called 5G new radio. I mean, I'm not going to talk about that here. So you can find more details about it, right? So the main thing is you need to understand is that 5G has the capability of offering very high bandwidths and higher data rates compared to 4G, right? And it makes use of latest technologies like IoT. It incorporates IoT to the network. Okay, so these are the things, and also 5G uses several frequency bands to communicate. Are the millimeter wave කියලා කියනවා අපි. Millimeter wave කියන්නේ those are high end frequencies, but millimeter wave frequencies cannot be used for long distance communication, right? In 5G. So there are three frequency bands: the short wave, the mid band, and the high band, right? So using still all these things incorporating 5G is still in the experimenting stage. But countries like Finland is the first country where 5G was founded and implemented. 5G first network implement करे Finland वला you may have heard about the University of Oulu, right? So there they have implemented the 5G network. Yeah, they took initiative to develop the 5G network, and they kind of practically implemented it, and still it is in the experimenting stage, but now it has developed to a certain level so that we can implement it as a cellular network. But the only downside is we need new equipments. I mean, we can't use the normal mobile phones which support 4G, so we need mobile equipments which support 5G. So that's a downside. So I think for us, countries like us, it will be very, you know, uh, for us to adopt such a new technology, we need to upgrade our mobile equipments and other network architecture, which is not going to happen any soon, right? Okay, so that's about 5G. You can read about 5G if you need more information about it. Then after 5G, the mobile generations part is over. Okay. Now, did you do? I was talking about the assessment. Is there anything that you need to understand about how to do the assessment? Assessment එක මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න. මොනවා හරි දැනගන්න දේවල් තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න. Assessment assignment එක ගැන දැනගන්න දේවල් තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න. Then today we'll do about the GSM network architecture. GSM network architecture එක ගැන කරන්න බලමු. මොකද GSM network architecture අපි කරන්න ඕනේ මොකද GSM network architecture is the basis of the mobile communication or cellular network that we use today, right? දැන්ට අපි පාවිච්චි කරන cellular network එකේ පදනම තමයි GSM network, right? So you should know how the I mean, we discussed about the cellular network in the first few lectures, but we need to understand how the GSM network actually works. So still the network we are using is mainly based on GSM network architecture. තාමත් අපි දැන්ට 4G network එක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. ඒත් 4G network එකේ GSM network architecture තමයි basis එක, right? So based on the GSM network architecture, we are implementing all these different kinds of services, right? So we should know exactly what GSM network architecture is, what these subunits, what are the different functionalities of subunits. හරිද? ඒ දේවල් ටික දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. And please, you should go through this particular lecture. I mean, in the final exam, this can be asked, right? To draw the GSM network, to draw the GSM network architecture, to describe different components of a GSM network. GSM network එකක වැදගත් components මොනවද? ඒ වගේ වෙන functionalities ලියන්න, network architecture එක අඳින්න. ඔය වගේ දේවල් exam එකේ අහන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? So, in the previous past paper, also a question is included about GSM networks. So did I share the past paper with you? නෑ නේද? ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේ මම හිතන්නේ පරණ papers වගේක් තියෙන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ ළඟ. Let me see.
අපිට මට මේ පරණ papers ටිකත් එවන්න පුළුවන් නම් හොඳයි. මේ අපිට ගන්න විදියක් නෑ මේ HM එකේ කොහෙන්ද?
ගිය පාර ගිය semester එකේ කට්ටියකින් ඉගෙන ගන්න බැරිද? previous වලින්.
යාළුවා ගන්න නෑ.
Okay. මේක තමයි ගිය පාර අපි not that difficult. So it's a 3-hour paper. I mean, we have 5 questions and you have to answer 4 out of 5, right? And there are 10 MCQs. MCQs are very easy, right? There are 10 MCQ questions. MCQ 10ක් තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ essay questions 5ක් තියෙනවා. 5න් 4ක් තෝරගෙන ලියන්න පුළුවන්. So I have taught you all these things, right? So write short notes on the following. Explain using suitable diagrams, right? Reflection, refraction, wavelength, frequency. You have to write short notes on these. I mean, there are also look at the mark allocation. I have allocated 8 marks for these 4 subparts. නේද? මේ කොටස් 4ට 8ක් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ දෙක ගානේ. ඒතකොට දෙක ගානේ ලකුණු දෙකක් හම්බ වෙන කොටසකට කොහොමද උත්තරයක් ලියන්න ඕනේ? සාමාන්‍යයෙන් වාක්‍ය දෙකක් තුනක් ලිව්වා. ඊට පස්සේ figure එකක් ඇඳලා. මොකද because you have to draw the figures. Explain using suitable diagrams නේ. the reflection කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා ලිව්වා figure එක ඇඳලා. එතකොට full marks හම්බ වෙනවා. හරිද? එතකොට නමුත් අවශ්‍ය දේවල් reflection ගැන ලියලා තියෙනවා. refraction ගැනත් එහෙමයි. wavelength එක කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? frequency එක කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? These are very easy, right? Then draw a model of a communication system and state the functions of each block in detail. The communication system එකක් ගැන මම එක lecture එකක් කරා, right? System. What are the components? We have a transmitter, right? Source encoder. We have the source information source encoder, channel encoder, right? Modulator, then communication channel and decoder and receiver, right? So those are the communication blocks of the communication system. Communication system එක blocks ඒ ටික. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක ඇඳලා ඒවා ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් විස්තර කරන්න ඕනේ. It is a 4-mark question. So you don't have to write it for 2 to 3 pages. පිටු 6ක් 7ක් ලියන්න ඕන දෙයක් නෙමෙයි මේක. ලකුණු 7ක ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඊළඟට explain 3 types of radio wave propagation in with suitable diagrams. So we have sky wave propagation, ground wave propagation, line of sight propagation, right? So you can write those and explain, and then draw the diagrams, right? ඊට TDT ගැන මොන මේක අමාරුයිද මේක මොනවා හරි මේ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් අමාරු ප්‍රශ්නයක්, right? Here also, now this is about the antenna propagation. These two types of antennas, then far field distance. What is the far field distance of an antenna, right? And then the dB calculation question. So we have done plenty of questions which are similar to these. මේවට ආසන්න වශයෙන් සමාන ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩක් කරලා තියෙනවා. හරිද? ඊළඟට this one is using free space propagation equation. You have to do the calculations, right? Then define large scale propagation and small scale propagation. So I have told you that also large scale propagation කියන්නේ මොකද්ද, small scale propagation කියන්නේ මොකද්ද. හරිද? ඒ වගේම මම කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට handoff, right? Explain 2 types of handoff, hard handoff and soft handoff, right? Then explain co-channel interference and adjacent channel interference. Then this is the frequency reuse question. Had the ළමයි අනිවාර්යෙන් පොඩ්ඩක් frequency reuse ප්‍රශ්නයක් එනවා, right? Frequency reuse, you will be asked to write answers to a question like this, and you will have to do some decibel calculations like this. Then you will have to use the free space propagation equation also, right? So those are pretty much included in every year's paper, right? And then cell splitting and cell sectoring. So these are the paper has covered all the almost all the sections, but not so, depth is less, right? It is not too difficult. I don't know the difficulty level for you because you have not, studied for the exam. So I'll share the paper with you and you can try it at home. Try to answer the questions at home. You can refer to the notes and write the answers. Okay. And then one day I will take a revision lecture and discuss all the questions and answers and how to write the answers, right? Because this paper covers all the areas, right? සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔක්කොම වගේ cover කරලා තියෙන paper එකේ. එතකොට ඕගොල්ලෝ මේක paper එක මම share කරන්නම්. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක අරගෙන ප්‍රශ්න වලට උත්තර ලියන්න notes බලලා කොහොම හරි ඕගොල්ලෝ notes හදාගෙන තියෙනවා මෙහෙම නැත්නම් slides බලලා slides වල අපි ගණන් ඕන තරම් කරලා තියෙනවා frequency reuse වලටත් මේ ගාන එහෙම තනියම හදන්න බලන්න. හරිද? තනියම හදලා it's a 10 mark question. තනියම හදලා අපි බලමු එක දවසක් අරගෙන තව මට එක lecture එකයි කරන්න තියෙන්නේ, right? So I'll finish the syllabus after one more lecture. We'll do a 3-hour lecture on maybe next week. Next week නම් දරුවෝ මට weekdays වල නම් හරි අමාරුයි. Weekend එකේ කරන්න බලමු. පැය 3ක එකක්. ඊට පස්සේ syllabus එක ඉවරයි. Revision එකක් කරන්න මේ paper එකට උත්තර ලියාගෙන, right? then we can discuss the answers. හරිද? හරි. එතකොට here this is about modulation this question. හරිද? මේක ලේසියිනේ. එච්චර අමාරු නෑ. ASK, FSK, PSK waveforms අඳින්න තියෙනවා. Then difference between QPSK and QAM. Uh, multiplexing techniques තුන. මොනවාද multiplexing techniques තුන? What is modulation? ඔහොම ඊළඟට now this is about the part network part that we are doing now. හරිද අපි දැන්ට කරන ටික draw the GSM network architecture and write brief notes about HLR, VLR and AUC. So we'll do this today. ඊළඟට different frame types used in the GSM network. මේක නම් මම අද මට කරන්න පුළුවන් වුණොත් මම මේක කරන්න. නැත්නම් මේක ගැන එච්චරම කියන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. මම ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් ඊළඟ සතිය හරි කියන්නම්. Then explain 3G and 4G. Then write notes on these four technologies. මේක මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට දැන් දුන්නානේ මේ assignment එක විදිහට මම මේ ටික දුන්නානේ. Edge GPRS ගැන දුන්නේ නැහැ. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, WiMAX ඒ ටික දුන්නා. right? එතකොට මෙහෙමයි මේ ප්‍රශ්න වෙනවා කියලා මම කියන්නේ right? So I'll definitely change the questions but the areas are same නේද මේ හැම ඒරියා එකක්ම cover කරලා තියෙන මේ paper එකේ එච්චර අමාරු නෑ හරි අමාරු වගේ පේනවද නෑනේ නෑ නේද එහෙනම් අමාරුයිද නෑනේ
නෑ මැඩම්
ඒක තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ පොඩ්ඩක් මේකට උත්තර ලියන්නකෝ හරිද මම එහෙම ලොකුවට අමාරු කරන්නේ නැහැ papers හරි ඔය මේ ෆෝමැට් එකටම තමයි ඉන්නේ හැබැයි මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙම නෙමෙයි හරිද ප්‍රශ්න වෙනස් වෙනවා නමුත් මේකට උත්තර ලියලා පොඩ්ඩක් පුරුදු වෙන්න එතකොට හරි මේවා මම කොහොමරි මම ගිය බැච් එකට කරේ මේ ප්‍රශ්න හැමම මම ඩිස්කස් කරපු ප්‍රශ්න පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස් කරලා දීලා තියෙනවා හරිද ඒත් ළමයින්ට සමහරවල් ලියා ගන්න බෑ ඒක නෙවෙයි දැන් මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තර ලියපු අය ළමයි බොහොම කීප දෙනා ඉන්නේ ඒකයි මම කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට දැන් ඒ ළමයින්ට මට පාස් පේපර් එකක් කරවන්න බැරිුණා ඒක මම මොඩල් පේපර් එකක් කරා මීට ඉස්සෙල්ලා තිබ්බ පේපර් එකක් මම පෙන්නනවා මම පොඩ්ඩක් හොයලා බලලා තව පේපර් එකක් තියෙනවා ඒක මම හදපු එකක් නෙමෙයි එතකොට පේපර් එක නම් ඉච්චර අමාරු වෙන්නේ නැහැ හරිද හැබැයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ හැම දෙයක් ගැනම ඔයගොල්ලන් හරි අයිඩියා එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනි මම මේ මහා ලොකුට ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න යන්නේ නැහැ ඉන් ඩෙප්ත් නෙමෙයි මම බලන්නේ උගන්වන දේ තේරිලාද කියන එක. හරිද? නමුත් දැන් බලන්න ළමයි උත්තර ලියන මේ දවස්වල මම papers බලාගෙන යනවා. ඒත් ඉතින් ළමයින්ට සමහර වෙලාවට මේ wavelength එක කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක ලියා ගන්න. right? So what's the point of doing any kind of ඇත්තට මට තේරෙන ළමයි කීප දෙනෙක්ම wavelength එකවත් අඳ ගන්න බැරි ළමයි ඉන්නවනේ. හරිද? ඕගොල්ලෝ හැම වෙන්න එපා. මම දන්නේ මේ මම දන්නේ කියන්නේ ගිය පාර බැච් එකේ සමහර අය ටිකක් දුර්වලයි. මේ පාර මම හිතනවා එහෙම නැතුව ඇති කියලා. right? wavelength එක අඳිනකොට සහ frequency එක අඳිනකොට පොඩ්ඩක් කල්පනාවෙන්. හරි? wavelength එක කියන එක අඳිනකොට කොහොමද ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් precisely කරන්න මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කියලා දුන්නා. wavelength එක අඳින්දී අපි මේ axis හොඳට බලන්න ඕනි. හරිද? So you have to be careful. distance එක මෙහෙම තියෙන axis එක තියෙනවා නම් තමයි wavelength එක හම. This is amplitude. මේ හැමතිස්සෙම always mark the axis mark කරන්න ඕනේ. wavelength එක අඳිද්දි මෙන්න මෙහෙමයි. මෙහෙම ඇඳලා මොකක් හරි points දෙකක් ගත්තා. ඒ දෙන්න අතර දුර wavelength කියලා ලකුණු කරා. හරිද? lambda wavelength කියලා ලකුණු කරා.
මේ අන්තිම එක නම් පේන්නේ නැහැ මැඩම්.
අඳින්න පේන්නේ නැද්ද? දැන් පේනවද?
ඔව් මැඩම්.
එතකොට so this is it, right? So you have to mark the axis, name the axis properly. This is the distance axis. Distance axis එකේ තමයි wavelength එක හම්බ වෙන්නේ. frequency එක අපිට අඳින්න බෑ. හරිද? අඳින්න කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. මේක time axis එක amplitude. හරිද? ඒතර මෙහෙම wave එක අඳිනවා. අපිට time axis එකේ මෙහෙම අපිට time period එක ලකුණු කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So we can mark the time period capital T. capital T ලකුණු කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතර frequency කියන එක ඔයාලට ලියන්න පුළුවන් 1/t කියලා. Right? ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ වචනෙන් ලියන්න frequency is the number of cycles per second. නේ? In a wave, frequency is the number of cycles per second. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඕනනම් low frequency wave එකක් මෙහෙමයි. low frequency wave එකක් මෙහෙමයි. high frequency wave එකක් මෙහෙමයි. cycles ගන්න වැඩි වෙනවා. හරිද? එහෙම උනත් ලියන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒක අපි දන්නවනේ. එතකොට ළමයි දන්නවා හරියට concept එක. right? එතකොට frequency and wavelength කියන්නේ O level kind of a question, but you know what I am expecting is these axes should be marked properly. හරි? ළමයි ඉතින් පුදුමාකාර විදිහට තමයි මේ වැඳලා තියෙන්නේ. මෙහෙම ඇඳලා මෙහෙම මොකක් හරි ලකුණු කරලා ඇක්සිස් එක මොනවද දාලත් නැහැ. මොනවත් නැහැ. හරිද? වේව් ලෙන්ත් එක මොකද්ද කියලා ලියලා නැහැ. ෆ්‍රීකවන්සි එක මොකද්ද කියලා වචන වලින් ලියලා නැහැ. අනිත් එක තමයි ප්‍රශ්නයකට උත්තර ලියද්දී ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නා දැන් පොතක් හම්බ වෙනවා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ආන්සර් බුක් එකක්. ඒතර when you write the answers in a book, right? Always try to start a new question from a new page, right? And put the question numbers in every page. Now there's a box or something provided me, right, on the top of the paper. So always put question number 1. So in the next page also put question number 1, and we know that you are answering the sub parts of the first question, right? So if you have to answer the question number 1, let's say part 3 ප්‍රශ්නාංක එකේ 3 වෙනි කොටස අපිට ලියන්න බැරි වුණා. අපි පිටිපස්සේ පිටුවට ගෙනිච්චා. It's fine, right? You can add a note like this that it has been taken to the last page, right? එහෙම note එකක් දාන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් අර අන්තිම පිටුවේ ලියලා තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ හරියට ප්‍රශ්නාංකේ දාන්න. හරිද? ප්‍රශ්නාංකේ දාන්න. And I'm not expecting good spellings. I'm not expecting a beautiful handwriting which is readable is fine, okay? And I'm not expecting grammar, right? This is not an English class. Whatever it is that you know, you can write, okay? And whatever that is you know, you can easily draw. එතකොට අඳින එකේ හරි ලියන එකේ හරි හරියට concept එක දන්නවා නම් මට තේරෙනවා ඒ ළමයා ඒක දන්නවා. එතකොට ඒ ළමයාට full marks හම්බ වෙනවා. හරි? අනිත් එක මේ මෙහෙන් උත්තර ලියන්න එපා. අංක එක මෙතන දාලා අංක දාන්නේ නැහැ සමහරව. හරිද? Don't do that. You will lose marks. I'm not purposely doing it, but sometimes I can also make mistakes, ne? Sometimes I may forget to mark, right? Because you have written here, there half of one part is written in one page and the other half is written in somewhere else. එහෙම ලියන්න එපා. හරි? බහුතරයක් ළමයි හොඳට ලියනවා. නමුත් සමහර ළමයි මම කියන්නේ don't try to get repeated. එහෙම ඒක හිතාගෙනම exam එකට යන්න එපා. හරිද? මම දන්නවා now you have a lot of questions, a lot of modules you have to cover. Sometimes some exams are pending from the previous semester. But what to do? We have to face this na. COVID කියලා එක මේ ළමයි කියන ලකුණු වෙනස් කරන්නේ මුකුත් වෙන සහනයක් දෙන්නෙත් නෑනේ. ඒක නිසා මේ දැන් මම මේවට notes හදලා lecture notes එක print outs අරගෙන එහෙම කරලා තියාගන්න. මොකක් හරි ෆයිල් එකක දාලා මේ දීලා තියෙන ඒවා ටික print out ගත්තා නම් ඔයයන් පිට එන්නේ නැහැ. ඕවම තමයි හරියට ආයි ප්‍රශ්න හදලා උත්තර ලියලා, right? Or you can write notes. නේද? මේ ටික බලාගෙන මේ ටිකම ආයි copy කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තේරුම් ගන්න ලියන්න. හරිද? ලියලා notes හදාගන්න. මොකද it will be easy for you. හරි. එතකොට let's start the today's topic. හරි ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා attendance කවුද? ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ අනිත් paper සමහරවිට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අනිත් subjects වල. එතකොට GSM කියන වචනේ මොකද්ද? Global System for Mobile Communication, right? Global System for Mobile Communication. So GSM is a second generation cellular standard. developed to cater voice services and data delivery using digital modulation. So GSM is a network standard, cellular network standard, which could accommodate both voice services and data services together. හරිද voice services සහ data services දෙකටම සාමාන්‍ය පරිදි accommodate කරන්න පුළුවන් පළවෙනි mobile standard එක විදිහට තමයි GSM standard එක හඳුන්වලා දුන්නේ. And now GSM standard is the most important basis for the modern day mobile communication systems, right? So we should know about Gsm architecture, different areas of Gsm architecture, right? Different functionalities. It is developed by this group Speciale Mobile, founded in 1982, which was an initiative set, right? This is a brief history. Then under ETSI, GSM is named as, now the naming of this one is done by this organization, right? Global System for Mobile Communication in 1989. 1989 මේක introduce කරේ, right? The 1990s, 1995, it further developed, further evolved to the modern day GSM network. හරිද? History එක ගැන එච්චරම මේ හිතන්න ඕනේ, but I included it here. Then these are important. Remember these, right? There are three main types of GSM services. GSM services ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් තුනක් තියෙනවා. Tele services, bearer services, and supplementary services. Tele services, bearer services, and supplementary services, right? Tele services කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Tele services means telecommunication services that enable voice communication via mobile phones. හරිද? voice communication enable කරන්නේ tele services වලින්. හරිද? So these are the tele services, the voice communication, mobile telephony, and emergency calling. හරිද? මේ දෙක තමයි voice services, tele services. හරිද? bearer services කියන්නේ data services, right? So it includes various data services for information transfer between GSM and other networks, right? So the PSTN is the PSTN කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Public Switch Telephone Network, which is the land phone network නේද? මොකක් හරි land phone network එක තමයි PSTN. ISDN means Integrated Services Digital Network. Now these are other types of communication networks, okay? So mobile network, GSM network is can communicate between other networks as well, right? By PSTN and ISDN at data rates from 300 to 9600 BPS, which is 9.6 kbps, which is really less compared to data rates that are available nowadays. Then තියෙන data rates වලට සාපේක්ෂව ගොඩක් අඩුයි. නමුත් ඒ කාලේ හැටියට ඉතින් GSM network එකෙන් මෙහෙම data rates offer කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? Unlike in the previous technologies, data services were very limited. හරිද? data services in first generation, we did not almost have any data services, right? So GSM was the first one who introduced short message service, SMS service එක හඳුන්වලා දුන්නේ GSM, right? voicemail box SMS, right? So in SMS services අර ඉස්සර ෆෝන් වලින් අපි කියන short message service SMS messages type කරනකොට there is a limit, right? So up to 160 character alphanumeric data transmission, right? There's a message length, a maximum message length that you can type and send, right? So back in the day it was a limitation now, but it was short SMS was introduced by GSM, right? But in Sri Lanka, this SMS services were introduced, I think, in early 2000s, as I remember, yeah, early 2000s. එතකොට මෙන්න මේව තමයි ඒ කාලේ data services කියලා මුලින්ම හඳුන්වලා දුන්නේ, right? Then supplementary services. දැන් data and voice වලට අමතරව තව දේවල් introduce කරා, right? So other than data and voice services, these are the other supplementary services introduced. Call waiting. And the call waiting, call hold. Call waiting means, so if there's a call ongoing, right, and there's an incoming call, so a notification will be sent to the incoming call. Um, I mean, it will put the call in waiting mode, right, until the ongoing or current call is terminated. Right? That is called waiting. So it is a supplementary service. Ek a pitting, you can make a secondary service, right? It is a supplementary service, right? Call hold. Call hold means you can put a call on hold to take another call. So still we are having these kinds of services in our mobile phones, right? Then call bearing means a phone service that allows users to stop receiving calls from particular numbers. You can block certain particular numbers, right? Then or stop someone from making calls to particular numbers. So that is called bearing. Call forwarding means you can, it's like call diverting, right? So calls can be sent to various numbers defined by the user. Okay, then multi-party call conferencing, right? Then you can connect several users together to a group call. So all these things together was introduced first by GSM Network Architecture. So back in the day, GSM was a really very high technology based standard mobiles, because it's the first mobile standard which introduced all these supplementary services, data services to the network, to the cellular network. හරිද? එතකොට ඔය මේ services මතක තියාගන්න, right? So remember the supplementary services introduced by GSM. Remember the data services introduced by GSM, and teleservices introduced by GSM. So this is important. Okay. Then GSM Network Architecture. So this is the main network architecture of GSM. So you already have a basic idea. Basic idea එකක් තියෙනවානේ. So now these are the mobile stations. MS කියන්නේ මොනවද? Mobile stations. Our mobile phones. හරිද? Then we have BTS. BTS is the base transceiver station. Base transceiver station. Now there are base transceiver stations in each cell. And these base transceiver stations are connected to base station controllers, BSC. BSC can be base station controllers. Then the BSCs are connected to MSC. MSC is the main switching center. The mobile station, right? Then we have base transceiver stations. Then multiple base transceiver stations are connected to one base station controller. Base station controller එකකට connect වෙනවා. හරිද? ඊට පස්සේ base station controllers ගොඩක් එකතු වෙලා MSC එකට connect වෙනවා. MSC is kind of the main part of the network. හරිද? GSM network එකේ main part එක core කොටස. හරිද? represent කරන්නේ MSC එක, main switching center. Okay, so main switching center is connected to the operational support subsystem, and these important databases. මේ තියෙන්නේ databases. හරිද? දත්ත ගබඩා කරන databases තුනක්. HLR, VLR and AUC. These databases maintain the data about different subscribers to the network. Network එකේ subscribers ලා ගැන විස්තර තියෙන store කරලා තියෙන databases තුන තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ, right? HLR, VLR and AUC. HLR means home location register. We'll discuss about it later. VLR is visitor location register. It's important in roaming. Roaming වලදී වැදගත් වෙනවා. AUC is authentication center, right? So AUC has another database called the EIR. හරිද? Equipment Identity Register කියලා තව එකක් තියෙනවා. EIR කියලා database එක. EIR. So all these databases provide information about the user. Users ලා ගැන, subscribers ලා ගැන තොරතුරු ගබඩා කරන databases, right? Without these databases, the network cannot function. The network එකට function වෙන්න බෑ. Then MSC acts as a gateway. MSC එක තමයි මේ අපේ mobile network එක අනිත් networks එක connect කරන gateway එක විදිහට ක්‍රියා කරන්නේ, right? So MSC will connect not only all the databases. See, everything, every part of the network is connected to the MSC. නේද? network එකේ හැම කොටසක්ම MSC එකට තමයි connect වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? So MSC is the main part of the network, or the heart of the network. Okay, so MSC will connect the mobile network to the outside networks like public switch telephone network, other data networks, ISDN. So these are the other communication networks. අනිත් communication networks තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒවත් එක්ක අපේ mobile network එක compatible කරන්නේ MSC. Right? හරි. එතකොට so this is the basic network architecture. ඒක තමයි basic network architecture. Then these are the interfaces between. Now we can give some boundaries. Then මෙතන mobile station and base station boundary is known as radio air interface or air interface. Okay, because this is the wireless link. This is the wireless link, and these are the subscribers. Main subscribers මේක තමයි wireless link එක, wireless channel එක, right? So cell එකක තියෙනවා base transceiver station, right? So base transceiver station connects with our mobile stations with wireless links, right? And the interface between the mobile station and the BTS is known as air interface. මේකට කියනවා air interface කියලා, radio air interface, right? Then our base transceiver station connects with the base station controller or BSC through abyss interface. මේකට කියනවා abyss interface කියලා. හරිද? BTS සහ BSC අතර interface එක තියෙනවා abyss interface. And BSC and MSC is the interface between BSC and MSC is A interface. හරිද? ඊට පස්සේ then this is the SS7 interface between the MSC and other networks. හරි? එතකොට මෙන්න මේ ටික තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ Gsm architecture එකේ දැනගන්න තියෙන්නේ, right? So try to remember the network architecture. This is not that difficult නේ. You know already the BTS ගැන දන්නවනේ. ඊට පස්සේ BSC එකට connect කරනවා කියලා දන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ BSCs are connected to MSC. So MSC is connected with different databases, operational support subsystem, and other networks. Okay, so it is easy to remember. Then let's take one by one. MS is the mobile station. BTS is base transceiver station. BSC base station controller. MSC main switching center. HLR home location register. VLR visitor location register. AUC authentication register. Okay. PSTN public switch telephone network. ISDN integrated services digital network. Okay. And just please remember all these abbreviations. Abbreviations වලට එන නම් ටික long forms ටික මතක තියාගන්න. හරිද? ඊළඟට mobile station. Mobile station එක මෙන්න මේ දෙකෙන් තමයි හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? Mobile station consists of these two components or units. What are the two main units in a mobile station? We have the mobile equipment, which is the hardware part of the mobile equipment. Mobile phone එක මුලින් තියෙන්න බෑ. ඊළඟට network එකේ participation එක පෙන්වන්නේ SIM එකේ. හරිද? SIM එකේ. එතකොට දැන් phone එක තිබුණා කියලා ඒක මොන network එකටද අයිති වෙන්නේ කියන එක අපිට කියන්න බෑ. So the network that the mobile station belongs to, or connect with the module which connects the mobile equipment to the network is the SIM. නේද? mobile equipment එක network එකට connect කරන්නේ SIM එකේ. SIM is subscriber identity module. So these are very important. mobile equipment එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා, SIM එක දන්නවා. ඒතකොට SIM එකෙන් තමයි network එකට equipment එක connect කරන්නේ. Then base station subsystem consists of these two, BTS and BSC. BTS BSC දෙක වෙලා තියෙන base station subsystem, right? BTS and BSC මෙන්න මේකට කියන අපිට base station subsystem කියලා. right? Subsystem BSS කියලා. This is BSS. Remember, this is BSS. Then we have NSS or Network Switching Subsystem. Network Switching Subsystem. NSS. Network switching subsystem consists of the MSC and databases and OMC, operational support subsystem. So, BSS in the base station subsystem, we have the base transceiver station and DSC, right? Okay. So, mobile station, it is this one mobile equipment. Mobile equipment it is a portable device, right? Vehicle mounted, handheld. It is a portable device. Then uniquely identified by an IMEI number, IMEI number, right? Mobile equipment uniquely identify කරන number එක තමයි IMEI number. The long form is International Mobile Equipment Identity Number, right? So this is a number given by the hardware manufacturer itself, right? Hardware manufacturer dena number එකක් තමයි equipment එකට මේක IMEI number. So this is equivalent to the MAC address given to a PC, right? So MAC address that we have in our computers. So that is the MAC address equivalent of the mobile equipment. Mobile equipment again MAC address equivalent එක තමයි IMEI, right? So MAC address doesn't say anything about the network it is connected to. නේද? network එක ගැන MAC address එකකින් කතා කරන්න බෑනේ. MAC address එකකින් කියන්නේ ඒ device එක identify කරන number එකක් විතරයි. MAC address is the unique number which identifies that device uniquely. That's all. So you can have a MAC address or device, but you can't tell anything about the network it is connected to with the MAC address. MAC address again, network එක ගැන කතා කරන්න බෑ. මොන network එකේ මොන sub network එකේ තියෙන්නේ කියන එක අපේ device එක අපිට කියන්න බෑ. So just the same thing. IMEI number doesn't say anything about the network or the mobile network it is connected to, right? So it is just the hardware identification number. Then mobile equipment can do voice and data transmission. The mobile equipment is the one which is at the subscriber end. Subscriber end එකේ network එකේ ඉවර වෙන mobile equipment එකෙන් විතර mobile equipment එකෙන් පුළුවන් voice සහ data transmission කරන්න, right? Then monitoring power. So this is also one important thing that is done by the mobile equipment. Mobile equipment එකේ ප්‍රධානම දෙයක් තමයි power monitor කරන එක. ඒ කියන්නේ received power එක monitor කරන එක, transmitted power එක monitor කරන එක, right? So it will monitor the power and signal quality of surrounding cells for optimum handover, right? මතකද මම කිව්වා mobile assisted handoff එක ගැන. MAHO. Mobile assisted handoff. You can look back to your notes and try to memorize it. So mobile assisted handoff means mobile station will initiate the handoff procedure. Handoff procedure can initiate කරන්නේ mobile station, right? So it will keep on monitoring the signal strength from different towers, and if it detects that the signal strength from the certain base station is quite less, so it will communicate with the base station, right? And it will prepare itself for the handover process. Handover process එකට prepare. So mobile assisted handoff කියන්නේ mobile එක තමයි continuously it will monitor the power level, received signal power level, right? So monitoring power level is a very important function in the mobile equipment. Mobile equipment එක ප්‍රධාන function එකක් තමයි power level එක monitor කිරීම. Otherwise handoff procedure is not possible. So handoff initiated by the base transceiver station is not an effective one. The base transceiver station making handoff process එක initiate කරන එක effective නෑ. It was the old method. Old method කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? It will monitor the received signal powers from different mobile equipments in the area. නේද? ඒරියා එකේ මොබයිල් ඉක්විප්මන්ට්ස් වල රිසීව් සිග්නල් පවර් එක මොනිටර් කරනවා ටවර් එක මොනිටර් කරලා ඩිසයිඩ් කරනවා මොන මොබයිල් එකකටද හෑන්ඩ් ඔෆ් එකකට ලැහැස්ති වෙන්නේ මොන මොබයිල් එකද, right? So, but mobile assisted handoff is initiated by the mobile equipment. නේද? the mobile equipment එක තමයි මොනිටර් කරන්නේ මොන ටවර් එකෙන් මම මේ ටවර් එකේ ඉන්නවද නැත්නම් මෙතනින් එහාට වෙන එකකට යනවද? ඒ යනකොට මම මොකද්ද ගන්න ඕනේ පියවර. හරිද? So it will be it is a good thing, right? So it will it will be important for optimum handover process. ගොඩක් ඔප්ටිමම් ඩිස්කනෙක්ට් වෙන්නේ නැති handover process එකකට වැදගත් වෙනවා mobile assisted handoff. So you can read about it further by referring to the previous lectures, right? So power level that can transmit and receive by the mobile equipment is in between this range. So from 0.8 watts to 20 watt. Watt දශමාර්ථ 20ක් අතර ප්‍රමාණයක් transmit receive කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So yeah, so this is not in case of smartphones this is not valid anymore, but we are talking about the Gsm network architecture, right? So in the Gsm network, the mobile phones that were used back in the day, the alphanumeric characters, alphanumeric means what? Both alphabet and numerical characters are supported in the SMS, right? SMS wala alphabet सह numeric character support करना, so we call it as alphanumeric. For alphanumeric characters there are up to maximum up to 160 දක්වා alphanumeric characters පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So those are the specifics of the mobile equipment. Don't forget that we are talking about the Gsm network architecture, which is the most basic network architecture in the 2G network, right? Don't focus much on smartphones that we are using nowadays. හරිද? smartphones එක ගත්තාම මේවා වෙනස්. So 160 character long SMS ගැන කතා කරද්දී ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන් හිනාවේ, right? So back in the day it was the case, right? එතකොට ඒක පොඩක් මතක තියාගන්න. Then we have the SIM, the subscriber identity module. So this is a very important part of a mobile equipment. The mobile equipment එක ප්‍රධානම වැදගත්ම දෙයක්. මොකද network එකට mobile එකෙන් වැඩක් ගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට හදන්නේ SIM එකකින්. හරිද? mobile එකකින් කිසිම වැඩක් ගන්න බෑනේ SIM එකක් install නොකර. right? SIM එක insert කරන්න නැතුව network එකට connect වෙන්න බෑ. right? So you cannot make calls, you can do only very limited things unless and until you connect your mobile phone to the network via a SIM. You have to install a SIM card. So SIM plays a very important role in a mobile communication network. So SIM card contains the international mobile subscriber identity number. Then lamai, this is like the IP address, right? So SIM IMSI number is like the IP address in the normal computer networks. सामान्य computer network එක IP address එක වගේ ක්‍රියා කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? IMSI number, International Mobile Subscriber Identity Number. So what does this IMSI number do? IMSI number එකෙන් මොකද කරන්නේ? ප්‍රධාන numbers දීපත් තියෙනවා. SIM එකේ තියෙනවා IMSI number එක. Then the mobile equipment we have IMEI number, right? So what does the IMSI number do? It will uniquely identify the SIM, the subscriber identity module, different subscriber identity modules in the network. එතකොට network එක පැත්තෙන් SIM modules එක එක්කෙනාගෙන් එක එක්කෙනාට වෙන් කරලා අඳුරගන්න IMSI. So it is like the IP equivalent, IP address equivalent in computer networks. Computer networks වල network එකේ position එක mobile එක network එකේ කොතනද තියෙන්නේ කියන එක determine කරන්නේ IMSI number එක. හරි? එතකොට please remember these numbers. මේ numbers මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. right? IMSI number. එතකොට SIM module එක uniquely identify කරන number එකක් තියෙනවා. හරි? Then allows user to send and receive calls and receive other subscribed services. If the network එකට connect කරන්නේ mobile equipment එක SIM module එක, right? It is protected by a password or a PIN. It is protected by a password or a PIN, right? And then it can be moved from phone to phone and contains key information to activate the phone, right? So of course, දැන් එක mobile equipment එකට එක SIM එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනි කියලා දෙයක් නැහැ, right? So you can change your SIM from phone to phone, but it is a dynamic thing නේද? එක SIM එකක් කියන එක permanently එක තැනක තියෙනවා කියන එක කියන්න බෑ. ඒක dynamic දෙයක්. So it is very much like like the IP addresses. නේ IP addresses වගේ ගොඩක්. ඊට සමානයි. IP addresses are dynamic. So IP addresses are provided by the DHCP server, and it is dynamic, right? So it is not assigned to one device completely or permanently. It can change from device to device, right? Device second device එකට වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම one device can get different IP addresses at different times, right? So it is just like that. Then ඊළඟට ගත්තාම base station subsystem. So we talked about the mobile station part. නේද? එයා interface එකේ තියෙන devices ටික ගැන කතා කරේ. Mobile station part, we have the mobile equipment and the SIM. Then base station subsystem. Base station subsystem has BTS and BSC. Base transceiver station and base station controller. BTS and BSC, right? Base station subsystem is composed of two parts that communicate across the abyss interface. So then AI interface එක ගැන අපි කතා කරන්නේ. Abyss interface means, what is the abyss interface? This communicates across abyss interface. So these two parts are beside the abyss interface. Abyss interface එක දෙපැත්තෙන් තමයි base station subsystem එකේ කොටස් ටික තියෙන්නේ, right? So this is base transceiver station and base station controller. So those are the two things which are side by side to the abyss interface. Abyss interface එකේ side by side තියෙන්නේ ඔය දෙක. හරිද? Okay. Then, so we have to talk about these two, BTS and BSC. Base transceiver station, BTS. So BTS is the closest one to the mobile station. Mobile station is the closest unit in the network. Gsm Network Architecture is the BTS. Mobile station is the signal BTS එකත් එක්ක තමයි mobile station එක directly communicate කරන්නේ, right? Mobile station directly communicates with the BTS. So BTS will encode, encrypt, multiplex, and modulate and feed the radio frequency signals to the antenna, right? So these things are done by the BTS: encoding, encrypting, multiplexing, modulating. All these things to the radio signal is done by the BTS. Then it is the unit which will communicate directly with the mobile station. Mobile station එකත් එක්ක directly communicate කරන්නේ මේ BTS and also communicate with the BSC. එතකොට BTS act කරනවා mobile station එකයි BSC other network, the rest of the network. It will act as the intermediary between the mobile station and the rest of the network. නේද? ඒකෙන් තමයි BTS එකෙන් තමයි mobile station එක network එකේ අනිත් දේවල් වලට connect කරන්නේ. right? අනිත් දේවල් වලට සම්බන්ධ කරන්නේ. Then it consists of transceivers. Transceivers means again transmitters and receivers. Transmitter units and receiver units, both. Transceiver means transmitter and receiver. It can transmit as well as receive. Okay. So our mobile stations are also transceivers. Mobile stations with transceivers, they can transmit as well as receive. Okay, right. Then, so any doubts up till now? Base station subsystem එක ගැන තමයි අපි කතා කරන්නේ. The other component of the base station subsystem is BSC, right? ඊළඟ කොටස තමයි BSC. BSC manages radio resources to BTS. එතකොට frequency allocate කරන්න BTS එකට BSC එක. Right? BSC will allocate frequencies to the BTS. Yes, it assigns frequency and time slots for all mobile stations in its area. So it is a much of a controlling system. BTS is much of a connecting system. BTS එක කියන්නේ mobile station එක සහ ඉතුරු network එක connect කරන system එක. හරිද? BSC is the controlling system. So it assigns frequencies, it assigns time slots to the mobile stations in the area. It handles call setup, handover, right? It communicates with MSC and BTS. So all these, middle level parts are, middle level controlling parts are done by the BSC. Middle level controlling parts ඔක්කොම කරන්නේ BSC එකේ, right? Handoff initiate කරන්නේ, handover process එක කරන්නේ, හරිද? Most of these things are done by the BSC. So BSC is a very important part, right? ඊළඟට බලමු. Then comes the network switching subsystem, right? Network switching subsystem. Now, so when you go back to the Gsm Network Architecture, this is the mobile station, right? Then BTS and BSC. BTS and BSC are separated by the abyss interface. Then BSC and the rest of the network is separated by the A interface. A interface. එතකොට මතක තියාගන්න BSS or the base station subsystem and the network switching subsystem are separated by the A interface. හරි? Base station subsystem එකයි network switching subsystem එකයි separate වෙන්නේ A interface එකකින්. හරිද? right. ඒතර ළමයි පොඩක් මේ ටික නම් මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. මේ මතක තියාගන්න අත්‍යවශ්‍යම ටික තමයි මම මේ slides වල දීලා තියෙන්නේ. right? In these slides, these things you have to remember. Okay? Then
madam,
yeah.
අර අපි අර මේ මුලින්ම කරද්දි ඔය වගේ කරා නේද මේ ඕකමද මේ
cellular network
ඔව්
ඔව්
ඔය දෙකේ වෙනස මොකක්ද ඒකට මොකක් කරා
නෑ වෙනසක් නෑ ඉතින් මෙහෙමයි අපි cellular network architecture ගැන කරද්දී අපි කලේ මෙහෙමනේ අපි මෙහෙම cellular network එක ඇඳලා right ඇඳලා BTS තියනවා කියලා කතා කරා right BTS ටික තියෙනවා කියලා කතා කළා මේ ටික ඔක්කොම BSC එකට කනෙක්ට් වෙනවා කියලා කතා කළා ඒක MSC එකට කනෙක්ට් වෙනවා කියලා කතා කරා BTS මේ cells අතරේ mobile equipments තියෙනවා කියලා කතා. It is the same network. ඒ එකම network එක තමයි. But the එකම වෙනස තමයි දැන් මේක ගැන අපි ඒ වෙලාවේ කතා කරාට මේකේ in detail network architecture එක ඇතුලේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ කියන එක අපි කතා කරේ නෑනේ. දැන් මේ databases ගැන එහෙම කතා කරේ නෑ මේ වෙලාවේ. හරිද? ඒතර මේක අපි මෙහෙම roughly කතා කරේ මේක තමයි roughly තියෙන structure එක. Geographical area එකක් cells වලට බෙදලා තියෙනවා. ඒ cells වලට බෙදලා frequency allocate කරනවා මේ BTS එකෙන් නේද? Frequency allocate කරන්නේ කොහොමද? මොන වගේ mathematics ද use කරන්නේ? Frequency reuse concept එක මොකද්ද? ඔය ටික කියලා දෙන්න. අපි මේ network architecture ගැන පොඩි idea එකක් තියෙන්න නැතුව බෑ. හරිද? අන්න ඒකට තමයි ඒක මම දුන්නේ. ඒතකොට ඒකයි මේකයි දෙකම එකයි. දෙකම එකයි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. ඒක ඇඳත් කමන්නේ නෑ. නමුත් මේ දේවල් එක ඉන්ක්ලූඩ් කරලා නැහැනේ HLR VLR ගැන කියලා නෑ. MSC එකට කනෙක්ට් කරන ටික මෙන්න මේ හරියට ඉතර වෙනකන් විතරයි කැඳලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි? MSC එකෙන් HLR VLR AUC and OMC and other networks වලට කනෙක්ට් කරනවා කියන එක ඇඳලා කොටසයි ඇඳලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි? ඒකේ කොටසයි ඇඳලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට GSM network architecture එක අඳින්න කිව්වොත් ඕගොල්ලෝ මේක අඳින්න. right? දැන් මේක වෙනුවට මේ හරියේ cells ඇඳලා ඒක මැද BTS ඇඳලා no problem. right? So if you are asked to draw the GSM network architecture, draw this one. And if you draw the cells like this and put BTS inside the cells and connect all these to the BSCs, it's totally fine. ඒක කිසිම අවුලක් නැහැ. ඒකෙන් ගන්න තියෙන එකම දේ තමයි BTS මේ cells ඇතුළේ තියනවා කියන එක විතරයි මේක ඇඳලා නැත්තේ. ඒක ඔයගලන්ට මෙතන ඇඳත් no problem. Okay? Or else you can just, this is the same network. Make a ටිකක් descriptive, more descriptive. Okay? So previously drawn one is not more descriptive. It was just drawn using only these components. මෙන්න මේකයි, මේ ටිකයි, මේකයි විතරයි ඇඳලා තිබුණේ. හරිද? Not everything. Right. Then ඊළඟට yeah. එතකොට BMPSC එකේ මොනවද කරන්න කියලා මතක තියාගන්න. Right? So what are the duties performed by BSC? It will manage all the radio resources. Resources means the frequency assignments and other resources, hardware resources, assigns frequency and time slots for all the mobile stations in the area. Handles call setup, handover for each mobile station. So handover processes are initiated by the BSC. BSC එකෙන් තමයි handover processes initiate කරන්නේ. හරිද? ඊළඟට it communicates with the MSC and BTS. MSC සහ BTS එක communicate කරන්නේ BSC එක. හරි? Then network switching subsystem. So network switching subsystem consists of all these databases and the MSC. MSC එකයි මේ databases ටිකයි තියෙන්නේ network switching subsystem. So these are the databases. So these are the databases and this is the MSC. This is the main part of the network, or like the heart of the network, and the rest of the databases are connected to the MSC. Mobile එකක් හරියටම identify කරගන්නේ මෙන්න මේ databases වලින්. These databases will identify a certain mobile equipment in the network, mobile station in the network, right? So whether it is registered in the whether it is a locally available mobile equipment or whether it is a roaming mobile equipment. So all these things, whether it is fully authenticated to be connected to the network, the network connect කරන්න authenticate කරපු equipment එකක් ඔය සියලුම දේවල් අඳුරගන්නේ මේ databases වලින්, right? Then mobile switching center, MSC. MSC is the heart of the network. I already told it. MSC එක තමයි ප්‍රධානම core part එක. GSM network architecture එකේ core part එක තමයි MSC එක, right? So it will manage the communication between the GSM network and the other networks. GSM සහ අනිත් networks. What are the other networks? Public switch telephone network and ISDN and other data networks. So data networks සහ 2G GSM අතර communicate කරන්නේ මොකෙන්ද? MSC. It acts as the gateway between the mobile network and the other networks. It does the billing information. It processes the billing information and collection. Okay. Then mobility management. Mobility management means the mobile phones are moving from one place to another. The mobile phone එකක් cell එකෙන් cell එකට යන්නත් පුළුවන්. So if the mobile is moving from cell to cell, we have handover processes. If the mobile is moving from one service area to another, not a service area, let's say we are moving between countries. So of course, our mobile equipment should be identified in other countries as well. So that kind of roaming, right? So the mobile equipment is moving between different networks. So those kinds of mobility management is also done by the MSC. So always remember the different functionalities of all these units. මේ units වල functionalities මතක තියාගන්න. MSC එකෙන් මොකද කරන්නේ? So it does the registration, location updating. This is very important because mobile network means not like the LAN phone network. නේ LAN phone network එක වගේ එක fixed location එක තියෙන දෙයක් නෙමෙයි mobile network එක. Mobile equipment එක කියන්නේ. ඒකනේ ඒක mobile කියන්නේ, right? So it is how it differs from the LAN phone network. So definitely we should have a method to update the current location. Location එකත් එක්ක ලොකු සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවා mobile network එකේ නේද? Mobile, the word suggests that it is moving. So if it is moving, the network is really dynamic. Network is static. Unlike in public switch telephone network, mobile network is quite dynamic. So we have to identify the network even if it is identify the mobile phone even if it is moving from one place to another. එක තැනකින් තව තැනකට ගියා කියලා ෆෝන් එක unidentified වෙන්න බෑ. හරිද? communication possible වෙනවා. ඒකමනේ දැන් first, that is the first key. First and foremost reason why mobile networks are introduced. Otherwise we can use the normal LAN phone networks. LAN phone network is working fine, so we can integrate data services as well, and we can make voice calls through the fixed telephone network. But our requirement is to move from one place to another and still make a call, still connected to the network, still access data services. ඒතර ඕකනේ. ඒතර අනිවාර්යෙන් location management එක, mobility management එක ප්‍රධානම කාර්යය. And that is not done by the MSc and BScs and BTSs. MSc is the one which does the mobility management, which is a very important task. ප්‍රධානම task එකක් ඒක, right? Then inter BSS and inter MSc call handoff. So those kinds of handover mechanisms, inter BSS and inter MSc. That means from BSc to BSc handoff and from MSc to MSc handoff. All these things are done by the MSc. So these are high-end functionalities. The mobile network එකක high-end functionalities තමයි මේ. හරිද? Then we are not aware of all these functionalities, but these are very important for the mobile communication to happen. හරිද? mobile communication එක වෙන්න මේ සියලුම දේවල් අනිවාර්යෙන් සිද්ධ වෙන්න ඕනේ. මේ දේවල් ගොඩක් වැදගත්, right? Then we have different databases, and please remember all these things, right? මේ ටික නම් මතක තියාගන්න. මම ඒකයි මේ කියන්නේ GSM මේ ස්ලයිඩ් ටික පොඩ්ඩක් මතක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. මේ databases ගැන අහන්න පුළුවන්, right? So home location register, what does it do? HLR, it stores information about each subscriber that belongs to MSc in permanent and temporary fashion. එතකොට ඒ area එකේ permanent or temporarily register වෙලා තියෙන subscriber information සියල්ලම store කරන්නේ HLR, home location register. හරිද? එතකොට ඕක තමයි home location means local subscriber. Home location register means so local subscribers that are belonging in that area are the information about local subscribers that are belonging in that area, that are usually residing in that area, is stored in the HLR. හරිද? ඒ area එකේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් පදිංචි වෙලා ඉන්න සාමාන්‍යයෙන් permanently ඉන්න subscribers ලගේ information තමයි home location register එකේ තියෙන්නේ, right? Then as soon as mobile subscriber leaves its current local area, the information in the HLR is updated. So the HLR it is a continuously updating database. හැමතිස්සෙම update වෙන database එක. ඒතර දැන් locally connect වෙලා තියෙන subscribers ලගේ information store කරනවා HLR එක. දැන් disconnect වෙනවා නම් එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ subscriber area එකෙන් යනවා නම් then HLR is updated again. Okay? Then database, this HLR contains the IMSI number. What is again the IMSI number? IMSI number එක කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? IMSI number එක කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? මොකක් identify කරගන්නද IMSI number එක තියෙන්නේ? Why do we have an IMSI number? To identify which one? මොකක් identify කරන්නද IMSI number එක තියෙන්නේ? මොකක් identify කරගන්නද IMSI number එක තියෙන්නේ. IMEI number එක තියෙන මොකක් identify කරගන්නද? What is identified by the IMEI number? කියන්න බලන්න. You did not understand, then I can repeat it. Or you can put your answers in the chat box. So what is the function of IMEI number? ඔගොල්ලෝ මේක අහලා තියෙන EB number එක කියන එක නේද? ඒක මොකක්ද?
Identify phone or
Yes.
identify phone or SIM.
Mobile equipment. Okay. IMSI. I told you now IMSI is like the IP address. IMSI is like the IP address. IMEI is like the MAC address, right? So IMEI will identify the mobile equipment. IMSI will identify the SIM, subscriber identity module. So SIM එකට ආවේනික නම් එක තමයි IMSI. Don't forget it. Okay? IMSI is the SIM, which is the subscriber identity module number. හරිද? Okay. Then MSISDN number. This is also very important. Don't forget about the mobile phone number. Now they are පාවිච්චි not 77 something, right? Yeah, mobile phone numbers. How it is connected to the network. A number phone number එක කොහොමද network එකයි මේවත් එක අතර සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ connect වෙන්නේ. හරිද? So MSISDN number is the mobile station international subscriber director number. So this is important. Mobile station international subscriber director number which map the mobile phone number to the SIM. SIM එකයි phone number එකයි අතර bind කරන්නේ MSISDN number. Right? So it will map the mobile phone number to the SIM. Okay? And we have all these databases, and that databases also contain prepaid, postpaid, roaming restrictions, supplementary services, all these things. So this HLR is very important. Okay, HLR එකේ තියෙන database එකේ තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ ටික. We have the IMSI number and MSISDN number, right? So IMSI number is the SIM identification number, right? MSISDN number is the mapping of mobile phone to the SIM. Mobile phone එකයි SIM එකයි අතර map කරන්නේ MSISDN number එක. Okay. So I think I mean if we are talking about the mobile communication, this is very important, right? So we should understand these things. We should know these things. That's why in the first few lectures we did not discuss about these parts. මේක කතා කරේ නෑ. ඒ lecture එක අපි නිකම්ම අර network architecture එක නිකන් යන්න. මොකද because we need to have a basic idea of what we are dealing with in order to answer questions about frequency reuse. නේද? frequency reuse වල ප්‍රශ්න කරනකොට handoff ගැන කතා කරනකොට අපි basic network architecture එක දක්වනවා. But this is the informative network architecture. So Gsm network architecture එක අඳින්න කියලා කිව්වොත් මේකෙන් තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඒක අඳින්න ඕනේ. Right? So previously done part is only a half of the network. Okay? Here, VLR, Visitor Location Register. Visitor Location Register. What does it do? It is a temporary database which updates whenever new mobile stations enter its area. So when there are mobile stations which are roaming, right? So when it is roaming in that area, it is the VLR will maintain the data about the mobile station. ඒතර VLR එක තමයි අර roaming mobiles වල තොරතුරු කබඩා කරන්නේ, right? It assigns a TMSI number. ඒතර දැන් බලන්නකො මේ මම කිව්ව එකයි numbers කීපයක්ම තියෙන මේ mobile communication වල වැදගත් වෙන. TMSI number means temporary mobile subscriber identity number. හරිද? එතකොට SIM ඒ යම් කිසි roaming වෙන SIM එකක් ඒ area එකේ තියෙනවා නම් අන්න ඒකට assign කරනවා temporary SIM identity number එක. Right? So that is the TMSI number. හරිද? ඒ area එකේ roaming වෙන mobile equipment එකකට mobile roaming වෙන අතරම SIM module එකකට temporary දෙන්න number එකක් තියෙනවා. අන්න ඒ number එකට කියනවා temporary mobile subscriber identity. To each mobile station entering the VLR area, which keeps on changing. So the VLR will assign this TMSI number, which is temporary. හරිද? ඒක తాවකාලික අංකයක්. So it also controls the mobiles roaming in its area. Then the database contains the IMSI, MSISDN, location area, the authentication key. All these things are contained in the VLR register as well. VLR database එකේ තමයි දේවල් ටික තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? ඒතර ප්‍රධානම දේ තමයි TMSI number එකක් assign කරන්න තියෙන්නේ mobile නැත්නම් ඒ SIM module එකට, which is roaming in that area. Okay. Okay. Then authentication register center. Authentication center is a very important. All these three main databases are equally important. මේක ගොඩාක් හොඳයි කියලා කියන්න බෑ, තුනම අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි. Authentication center is also very important because it contains the information about the authenticated subscribers. Right? It contains all the information about the authenticated subscribers, legally connected subscribers. So contains algorithms for authentication as well as encryption. Encryption and authentication is also done by the authentication center. The security part handle කරන්නේ authentication center. Right? So end-to-end encryption and authentication. Then it protects the network operators from fraud. The fraud කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? වංචාකාරයෙක්ගෙන්. හරිද? වංචාවලින් ඒ network එකේ subscribers ලා protect කරන්නේ authentication center. Right? So it is located in the special protected part of the HLR. HLR එකේ ප්‍රධාන high security part එකක තමයි authentication center එක තියෙන්නේ. This is the database, right? Then ELR. Now EIR is a part of authentication center. Authentication එකේ කොටසක් තමයි EIR, equipment identity register. හරිද? Equipment identity register. It is a important part of the authentication center database. AUC වල important part එකක් තමයි EIR. ඒතර මම කියනවා වේගෙ වැඩිද දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවද මම කියපු එක? Authentication center, it is something which does authentication and encryption. හරිද? authentication and encryption සිද්ධ කරන්නේ ඒකේ. So authentication part එකේදී තමයි EIR කියන එක වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. Right? බලමු ඒක අපි. So authentication and encryption වල වෙනස මොකක්ද? In computer network you must have done the difference between authentication and encryption. What is the difference? Can anyone tell me? Authentication and encryption. What is the difference between authentication and encryption?
Authentication mean given the access like as identify methods. Encryption is like as encrypt data.
But encryption is about encrypting the information, hiding the information. නේ? තොරතුරු ඒ විදිහටම raw information දෙන්නට අපි hide කරන එකට කියනවා encryption. Using different encryption methods and codes and algorithms, we can provide a different face to the original information. නේ? Original information එකට වෙන face එකක් දෙනවා. modify කරලා යවනවා. එතකොට if somebody is trying to steal the data, steal the information when it is transmitting, so they can't easily do it because the data is encrypted. We need the encryption key to decrypt it. දෙක decrypt කරන encryption key එක ඕනේ. decrypt කරන key එක ඕනේ. එහෙම නැතුව අපිට at the real information අපිට ගන්න බෑ. It has been altered. The information is altered, right? එතකොට encryption is coding of the original information for security purposes. So somebody can't easily steal it. නේ? Authentication කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Authentication will authenticate the user. Users ලා authenticate කරන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් users ලා valid customers ලාද එහෙම නැත්නම් legally ඒගොල්ලෝ connect වෙලා තියෙනවද? ඒගොල්ලෝ legal users ලාද? අන්න ඒවා කරන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් bill pay කරපු අයද? හරියට bills pay කරපු අයද? Right? So that thing is done by the authentication part. Authentication means whether they are allowed to access the network or not. Network access එක allow කරලා තියන අයද නැද්ද කියන එක බලන්න පුළුවන් authentication. Encryption is about data encryption, hiding the information. Okay, right. So you know the difference of that one. Then EIR වලින් ගොඩක් කරන්නේ authentication part එක. හරිද? මේ authentication center එකේ authentication part එක කරන්නේ EIR. Right? So EIR stores all devices identifications registered for this network. So network එකට register වෙලා තියෙන devices සියලුම devices වල තොරතුරු තියෙන්නේ EIR. හරිද? equipment identity register. So the database that is used to track handsets using IMEI number. IMEI number එක use කරනවා මෙන්න මෙතෙන්දී. Right? දැන් බලන්න EIR mobile එකක් දැන් phone එකක් නැති වුණාම ඒ phone එක කොහොමද හොයන්නේ අපි IMEI number එක දැන් මොකද SIM එක අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So SIM can be replaced. Right? You can remove the SIM and you can use some other SIM. But IMEI number should also be somewhere in the network. ඒක network එකේ යම් කිසි තැනක IMEI number එකක් තියෙන්න බෑ. හරිද? ඒතර තමයි අපිට device එක නැති වුණත් ඒක locate කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So it will track the handset using the IMEI number. IMEI number එකෙන් handset track කරනවා. Handset means the mobile equipment. And the mobile equipment handsets here. So then we mobile equipment track කරනවා IMEI number එක, right? So to properly locate the mobile equipment in a certain network, we need access to these databases. නේද? මේ network එකේ හරියටම mobile equipment එක තියෙන තැන හොයාගන්න SIM එක තියෙන තැන හොයාගන්න ලේසි. But we can't access the mobile equipment location. Equipment location එක හොයාගන්න නම් මේ databases access කරන්න. So it needs special permission, right? So that's why if a mobile equipment is lost, we go and report a case in the police station. So the police station will, they will handle this case and they will inform the authorities to give the special access to these databases so that they can locate the IMEI number in the network. Network එකේ IMEI number එක locate කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතර ඒක it involves some legal information. Legalities involved because you can't expose about your subscribers like expose කරන්න බෑ. ඒක service provider network එකෙන් ඒකට special permission දෙන්න ඕනේ. මේක criminal case එකකට සම්බන්ධ mobile equipment එක. ඒ නිසා මේක ගැන තොරතුරු අපිට දැනගන්න ඕනේ. Right? And මේක නිසා අපි මේක ගැන හොයන්න ඕනේ. So we should locate this particular mobile equipment. So to locate the mobile equipment, we should know the IMEI number. IMEI number එක දැනගෙන තියෙන්න බෑ mobile equipment එක locate කරන්න. හරිද? ඒතර SIM එකෙන් equipment එක locate කරන්න බෑ. මොකද එකම SIM එක පාවිච්චි කරනවා නම් පුළුවන්. නමුත් ඒ SIM එක ගලවලා අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? අන්න ඒ වගේ. එතකොට so accessing this particular database is it involves a lot of legal processes, right? So you cannot expose your subscribers to the outside world. And then service provider පැත්තෙන් ගත්තොත් service provider subscribers ලා කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ privacy ආරක්ෂා කරන්න ඕන service provider, right? So they are entitled to protect the privacy of the subscribers. So they can't just give the information to the outside world or outsiders without proper orders from the court of law. So ඒතර නීතියෙන් මොකුත් හරි order එකක් නැතුව ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඒ වගේ information disclose කරන්න බෑ. Right? So that's why accessing these databases involve legal processes. But maintaining these databases are very important because you need to දැන් මොබයිල් නෙට්වර්ක් එකක් පවත්වාගෙන යනවා විතරක් නෙමෙයි ඒ නෙට්වර්ක් එක සම්බන්ධයෙන් මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති වුණොත් ඒක ට්‍රබල් ෂූට් කරන්න නැත්නම් සමාජීය වශයෙන් ඒගොල්ලෝ බලන්නත් ඕනේ සමාජයේ මොකක් හරි ක්‍රයිම් එකක් ක්‍රිමිනල් ඉන්සිඩන්ට් එකක් ඇති වුණා. එතකොට ඒ මිනිස්යාව ට්‍රැක් කරන්න ඒ මිනිස්යාගේ මොබයිල් ෆෝන් එකෙන් ට්‍රැක් කරන්න. එතකොට ඒ දේවල් කරන්න අනිවාර්යෙන් සර්විස් ප්‍රොවයිඩර්ස්ලා බැඳිලා ඉන්නවා. They are entitled to give that information legally to the legal system of the country, not the common common subscribers like us. They don't disclose that information, but to the legal system. Okay. Then it prevents calls from stolen, unauthorized or defective mobile device. හරිද? එතකොට EIR වලින් තමයි මේව block කරන්නේ. Right? So unauthorized users ලාව stolen subscribers ලා stolen mobile phones වලින් call initiate කරන්න ඕනේ ඒ ඔක්කොම මොකද ඒවා stolen mobile phone එකක SIM එක replace කරන එක තමයි මිනිස්සු මුලින්ම කරන්නේ right so the stolen mobile phone they are not using SIM right but they can still be tracked using the IMEI number right so I think also in some places that there are ways and means to even change the IMEI number, right? IMEI number but those are like very bad methods, right? But the criminals use such things. But still, IMEI number plays an important role. Okay, storing IMEI number in the database is very important. In network database, IMEI number it's very important. Okay, this is why it's important, especially for the authentication purposes. Authentication purposes, then these databases, these lists, those are not databases actually lists. Okay. EIR is the main database and it will maintain these lists, sub-databases or lists. May list tika maintain karanawa EIR, right? So what are these lists? White list, grey list and black list. Or list tika maintain karanawa. White list means these are known to have assigned to valid mobile equipment. එතකොට මේ කිසිම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැති crime cases වලට සම්බන්ධ නැති එහෙම නැත්නම් bill pay කරලා ගාන්ට bill pay කරන ඒ වගේ valid mobile equipments වල list එක තමයි white list එක, right? So there is no issue when you try to connect to the network using a mobile equipment which is valid. It is in the white list. No issue in that. Okay. Grey list is it contains mobile equipments with faults. They can hardware faults. Hardware faults. They are not connected to criminal cases or stolen cases. Stolen criminal cases වලට සම්බන්ධ නමුත් hardware is faulty. Software is faulty, right? Software faults. So those kinds of mobile equipments are put in the grey list. ඒවා grey list එකේ තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? Then blacklist. Blacklist means it contains the IMEI numbers which have been reported stolen or related with crimes. So criminal cases වලට සම්බන්ධ එහෙම නැත්නම් stolen IMEI numbers list කරන්නේ blacklist එකේ, right? So these are the three lists maintained by the EIR. EIR equipment identity register එකේ maintain කරන ප්‍රධාන list තුන තමයි මේ. හරිද? Okay. Then OMC, Operation and Maintenance Center. Operation and Maintenance Center. What is done by OMC? It is the centralized operation of the various units in the system and functions need to maintain the subsystem, right? So it is centralized operating unit, right? And it does dynamic monitoring and controlling of the network. So these are the main functions of OMC. configuration management, fault reporting and alarm handling, mostly the troubleshooting processes and maintenance processes. The troubleshooting are maintenance processes OMC, Operation and Maintenance Center, right? Performance supervision management, then supervise කරන්න units හරියට වැඩ කරනවා. හරිද? ඒ ටික ඔක්කොම supervise කරන්න there should be some management part of the network is the OMC. Storage of system software and data. Data system of software storage. So those kinds of duties are performed by the OMC. OMC is the management functionality or management part of the network. Network management karanne, monitor karanne, maintain karanne OMC. So fault handling, troubleshooting, error handling, right? Those kinds of things are done by OMC. Understood? Then security in GSM. So how the security is very important in any network, not only mobile communication, computer networking. So anywhere, security is a very important aspect. So we need to make sure that our information that we are sending from here to there is safe, right? Is safe. So how do we ensure the security in GSM network? On-air interface, GSM uses encryption and TMSI instead of IMSI. Now, TMSI is a way to secure the information. Temporary mobile subscriber identity instead of the IMSI number. IMSI number is the SIM identity number. SIM identity, real SIM identity number එක වෙනුවට TMSI එකක් පාවිච්චි කිරීමේ additional security එකක් ලැබෙනවා. Right? TMSI එක මොකේද මොන database එකෙන්ද maintain කරන්නේ? Which database is maintaining the TMSI? HLR or VLR? VLR එකෙන්ද maintain කරන්නේ HLR එකෙන්ද TMSI? Temporary mobile subscriber identity. VLR maintains the TMSI, right? SIM module එකේ temporary IMSI වල temporary version එක තමයි TMSI, right? So it is given by the VLR to the roaming subscribe. Okay, so GSM uses encryption. That is one method of securing information, right? Information secure කරන ක්‍රමයක් තමයි encryption, and the other one is TMSI. And so when you use a temporary identification for a certain mobile or certain SIM module, the user information, subscriber information stealing will be avoided. තොරතුරු subscriber ගැන හරි තොරතුරු steal කරන්න අමාරුයි. TMSI කියන temporary number එකක් assign කරාම. And it is different from IMSI. හරිද? Then SIM is provided 4 to 8 digit PIN to validate the ownership of the SIM. So SIM has a certain security access number which is of 4 to 8 digits, right? Then 3 algorithms are specified. We use these 3 algorithms. A3 for authentication, A5 for encryption, A8 for key generation. So these are the 3 algorithms that are mainly used to ensure security in GSM. GSM වල security part එක ensure කරන්න මේ algorithms පාවිච්චි කරලා. හරිද? And authentication, encryption and key generation. So that is the security aspect of GSM. Okay. Any questions up till here? ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද මේ විදිහට? So we completed all these 3 parts in the network architecture. We completed the mobile station part, base station subsystem, and network switching subsystem, right? So we completed all these 3. Then Gsm Standard. These are the general characteristics of Gsm Standards. So these are the 2 frequency bands that are being used by the Gsm technologies: 900-1800 megahertz band and 850-1900 megahertz band. So these are 2 popular frequency bands used by GSM, and please remember Okay, these are the two popular frequency bands used by the GSM. Remember these: 900, 1800, 850, 1900. Okay, so whether it is 900 or 850 is it differs from country to country. So some countries opt for this band and some countries opt for this particular band. Either then user terminal authentication for fraud control. So authentication is very important in GSM. Security aspects are important, right? Full international roaming. So these are the features of the GSM standard. GSM standard features තමයි roaming capability එක තියෙනවා, right? Authentication and fraud control. Then these are the frequency bands used. Low speed data services. Data services දෙනවා නමුත් up to 9.6 kbps. නේද? 906 300 to 9600 කියලා මම කිව්වේ bps bits per second. එතකොට data services දෙනවා බොහොම අඩු rates. Right? These are very less data rates compared to nowadays technologies. But back in the day we had up to 9.6 kbps data services. Okay. Compatibility with other networks like ISDN වගේ digital networks එක compatible. Then support SMS. SMS services support කරනවා. ඒකට ඔන්න වගේ main key features are there of the GSM standard. GSM standard is a revolutionary mobile communication standard. නේද? mobile communication revolutionary standard එකක්. ඒක මේකේ තමයි ගොඩාක් දැන් දැනට වුණත් අපි still even though we are in the fourth and fifth generation of mobile communication, we are still using these features that were introduced by GSM standard. GSM standard එක introduce කරපු features තාම පාවිච්චි කරනවා even we are in the fourth or fifth generation of mobile communication, right? Because that's why I said that Gsm architecture is the basis for mobile communication that we use nowadays. So to understand any operation related to any generation of mobile communication, we first of all we should know about the GSM network එක දන්නේ නැතුව අනිත් mobile communication වල අනිත් දේවල් ගැන කතා කරන්න බෑ, right? Okay, then advantages of GSM over analog systems. So up till here, do you have any other questions? මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න, right? About the GSM network. So this particular slide does not have anything unnecessary. Everything is kind of, important in the final exam. This is a very important part of the of our module, wireless communication module. Again, mobile communication correct, right? So up till now we focused on mobile communication. In the next week we will do a little bit about other wireless technologies as well. Wireless communication කියුවා mobile විතරක් නෙමෙයිනේ, අනිත් technologies උත් තියෙනවා. Wi-Fi is a completely different technology, right? So it is ඒක ගැන Wi-Fi ගැන කතා කරන්න ගියොත් ඒක වෙනමම module එකක්, right? Then we have CCNA wireless කියලා වෙනම CCNA exam එකක් තියෙනවා wireless වලට. wireless CCNA wireless වල ගොඩක් කතා කරන්නේ Wi-Fi access points configure කරන හැටි, bridges වගේ දේවල් configure කරන හැටි, ඒ වගේ දේවල්. හරි. ඒතර Wi-Fi ගැන කතා කරද්දී ඒක වෙනම දෙයක්. ඊළඟට there's a technology called WiMAX. WiMAX කියන්නේ access network broadband access technology. Right? It is a broadband wireless access technology. WiMAX is usually implemented in areas where wired networks cannot reach. The wired networks reach කරන්න බැරි areas වලට broadband access දෙන wireless technology එකක් තමයි WiMAX, right? And then we have Bluetooth. Bluetooth is again a wireless technology. So it is a data sharing technology, right? So Bluetooth වල වෙනම system එකක් තියෙනවා, right? Bluetooth network architecture is also different, right? So we can communicate within different devices using Bluetooth, and Bluetooth architecture is different. Then we have what else? WiMAX, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and other kinds of wireless technologies. So Zigbee is also kind of a wireless technology. We'll discuss mainly Zigbee is related to the IoT world related technology. That's Zigbee. And so ඔය වගේ wireless technologies තියෙනවා අනිත් So you should have a basic idea of what these technologies are and different application areas of these technologies. හරිද? mobile communication තමයි ප්‍රධානම application එක. Wireless communication. Other than that, Wi-Fi is often used, right? Then other WiMAX and other technologies are also often used. So you should have a basic idea. So we'll do a 3-hour lecture and finish that part in the next week. Okay? එතන මේ ටික පොඩ්ඩක් වැදගත් මේ අන්තිමට කරන ටිකම module එකේ, right? So these are important in this particular module. Then advantages of using GSM over analog systems. The analog systems වලට සාපේක්ෂයෙන් නැත්නම් AMPS and TAC. So those are the first generation wireless communication technologies නේ. AMPS සහ TAC නේ first generation. එතකොට ඒවට සාපේක්ෂව second generation GSM වල තියෙන මොනවද තියෙන advantage? Right? Reduced RF transmission power and longer battery life. Now using Gsm Network Architecture, transmission power is reduced and battery life is expectancy is high. Right? Then mama ඔයගලන්ට කළා power control කියන lecture එක. Right? So you can refer to that lecture to clarify this point. Right? Okay, and there is also the mobile phone is monitoring the transmitting and receiving powers. So GSM is a very effective network architecture compared to the first generation technologies. Then GSM enables international roaming capability. හරිද? GSM වලින් international roaming capability enable කරනවා. එතකොට we can use the same SIM and we can still connect to the other foreign networks using the same SIM, but by enabling the roaming services. Roaming services වලට roaming enable කරාම අපිට ඒ SIM එකෙන්ම අනිත් foreign networks වලින් services ගන්න පුළුවන්, but we need roaming capabilities, right? So it is enabled by GSM. Then better security against fraud, right? So GSM uses authentication and encryption, and using authentication and encryption we can enable or we can ensure that our data is secure. Data ගොඩක් secure කියලා ensure කරන්න පුළුවන්. Compared to first generation technologies, GSM is a very, that's why I told you GSM තමයි ප්‍රධානම mobile evolution වලට mobile communication වල stepping stone එකක් තමයි GSM, right? Still we are using the GSM based technologies only. GSM based technologies තමයි තාමත් අපි පාවිච්චි, right? Then encryption capability for information security and privacy, like I said, authentication and encryption. ඒකත් ගොඩාක් වැදගත් feature එකක් GSM වල, right? It's a very important feature in GSM. So compared to other analog technologies like AMPS and TAC, GSM ensures that the information is secure and access is provided to the authenticated subscribers. And then roaming, subscribers can roam unlimitedly, or their mobility can be, it is not just limited to the particular country. රටකට විතරක් limited නෑ. එයා mobile equipment එකේ රටේ විතරක් තියෙන ඕන කියලා දෙයක් නෑ. They can use the same SIM module and they can communicate with the networks, with the foreign networks using the same SIM. They don't have to replace the SIM. By enabling the roaming capabilities, they can use the same SIM and they can still get connected to the networks. Right, and power control is very prominent in GSM network architecture. හරිද? ඊළඟට GSM evolution, and these are the data rate evolution of 2G. Now initial data rate is 9.6 kbps. මම ඒක ගැන කතා කරන්නේ, right? ඔයද කියන්නේ පක්කට ප්‍රශ්නයක්ද? Second generation වල the 9.6 kbps is the main data rate, right? In 2.5G, again GSM only, but by using HSP-ST, high-speed circuit switch data, we could achieve around 76.8 kbps. එතකොට අර 9.6 data rate 8 ගුණයකින් වැඩි වෙලා 76.8 kbps data rate එකක් දක්වා යන්න පුළුවන් 2.5G. Then we have Edge, GPRS. GPRS has introduced data rates up to 115.2 kbps. Then Edge 572, that is half Mbps data rate. හරිද? Mbps 0.5 දක්වා දුරකට edge වලින් යන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට this is the evolution of GSM through 2G to 3G, towards through 2G to 3G. 3G දක්වා evolve වෙනකොට GSM වල data rates උත් මෙහෙම වැඩි වුණා. Right? But still even in 4G, the main network architecture is GSM. GSM is the basic network architecture. And other than that, in 4G, we are using different other technologies and data rates and data technologies and other devices, and the network architecture has changed. But the basic network is GSM. And GSM network is අනිවාර්යෙන් වැදගත් වෙන mobile communication වල we should know everything about it, at least this much. We should know at least this much about the GSM network. හරිද? ඒතර මේ ටික ඔයගොල්ලෝ අයිමුල ඉඳන් කිව්වම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවා ගොඩක් අපි මොබයිල් ෆෝන් එකත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන දේවල් වල තේරුම. හරිද? මේවා කොහොමද වැඩ කරන්නේ කියන එක ගොඩක් තේරෙනවා මේ GSM network architecture එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියවලා බලුවා. In 3G we use WCDMA, wideband CDMA technologies. Now in 3G also the basic network architecture is GSM, and we could achieve up to 2 Mbps data rates. 2 Mbps දක්වා achieve කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? එතකොට ওই ටික තමයි GSM වල දැනගන්න තියෙන්නේ. But these are very, I mean every word in this particular slide is very important. Okay? Nothing බොහොම පොඩ්ඩයි තියෙන්නේ. මතක තියාගන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ. GSM network architecture. This is important. Okay? හරි. මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න. That's all for the day. And we'll do the final lecture next week. Probably on Saturday, I think. Right? I may not be able to, maybe on Saturday or Sunday. I'm not too sure, because if I find time on weekdays, I'll let you know, but probably I don't think so. Because now we have to report for the duties starting from Monday, and that's why I don't have time to do the lectures at night. හරිද? එතකොට අපි Saturday එකක lecture කරමු. Anyway, if you have any questions, ask me now. ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් GSM ගැන. හරිද? එතකොට ඉතින් මේක නම් පොඩ්ඩක් මතක තියාගන්න වෙනවා. And it is, I mean, in the final exam GSM වලින් අනිවාර්යෙන් කොටසක් තියෙනවා. ඒක MCQ එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ඒක නිකන් පොඩි කොටසක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, ඒක essay question එකක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. Right? It will depend on the paper. But you should remember these things. Okay? So can we wind up the lecture if you don't have any questions? අශුමනක්වත් නැද්ද? නවත්තමුද? හරි, මම slides ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක share කරන්නම්. We have one more lecture left. Right? Okay, now then you can leave. Before that, just wait a minute. Okay, 12, only 12 of you are there.